Now let's look ahead at economic news to come this week, both here and abroad. South Korea is set to release data on its export and import figures, as well as consumer prices for June. And the U.S. is to publish its unemployment data. Seo Eunkyung has more.
The Ministry of Trade, Industry and Energy will release export and import figures for June on Thursday. Preliminary data from the Korea Customs Service show that trade volume in the first 20 days of June surged compared to the same period last year. Exports increased by almost 30%, and average daily exports were up over 33%, showing continuing recovery in outbound shipments. Compared to the same period last year, exports of automobiles, petroleum products, and semiconductors largely contributed to the increase. Imports were up by almost 29%. Crude oil, petroleum products, and automobiles were the major contributors to the rise. Statistics Korea on Friday is set to release the Consumer Price Index for June. Consumer prices in May recorded their biggest on-year increase in 9 years. They came largely on the back of a rise in oil prices, which were up by more than 23%, the biggest jump in almost 13 years. This led to an increase in the price of petroleum products. The agency attributed the jump to low base effects from poor oil demand due to coronavirus-led recessions. Since the Consumer Price Index is one of the major barometers of inflation, all eyes are on whether the figure will continue to rise in June. On the same day, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics will release its unemployment rate for June. The national rate stood at 5.8% in May, declining 0.3% from a month before. The figure was down considerably from its high of near 15% in April last year. However, the rate remains above the pre-COVID-19 pandemic level, which was 3.5% in February 2020. Since the U.S. has been showing strong signs of economic recovery, the unemployment rate is largely expected to decline in June. The figure has been on a continuous decline since reaching a record high in April last year. Seo Eunkyung, Arirang News.